for more, reaching for more.
Welcome today. I'm so excited for what we're going to be doing today. It's called Breath of the Flower. As you see, I have this beautiful, gorgeous crown at the moment. It's a crystalline, prismatic lotus flower with a little light inside, a real little flame, if you can see through the camera there. So I have this here today just for a little inspiration for our mind's eye, for visualizing what a lotus flower looks like, or flower, any flower. But yeah, so this is my little inspiration for the breath of the flower exercise we're going to do today. So I'm going to set it there. I don't think you can see it, but that's okay. You know it's there. So what we're going to be doing today, like I said, is called Breath of the Flower. And this is going to be in a sitting position, so we won't be horizontal this week, we'll be vertical. So go ahead and find a nice, comfortable position, and when you are ready, we will begin. So if you found a nice and comfortable spot to sit, then let's go ahead and close our eyes. Take a moment to feel and tune into our breath and its rhythm. Any tension that you're feeling in your body, just allow it to melt away. And as you're tuning into your breath, feel the depth that your breath is reaching within your lungs. Feel its expansion and contraction, its open and its close. And as it's opening, feel the central part of your spine, your mid-back. How is the tension in that area today? Take a few minutes and breathe right into that spot in your back. Letting your breath expand the diaphragm wide open, and then allowing that muscle to gently contract the air back. Let's go ahead and allow our breath to come down to our hip bones. The big inhale as the hip bones gently start to open. Your belly expanding, and then allowing your hips and your belly to press the breath back up through the top of your crown. We're going to do that a couple more times, just because our hips is a very tight and constricted area a lot of the times. So now, with our mind's eye, let's imagine any flower of choice. I'm choosing a lotus for today. You can choose a rose. You can choose any blossoming flower that you choose. Flower of choice. And as we're looking at our flower, the most radiant, brilliant example of that flower you can imagine possible. Imagine it opening its petals in a full blossom. its full expansion. Let it rotate so you can see the whole 360 view of this flower. With your intent, let's bring this flower into our head, with the base of the flower sitting at the base of the occiput and the chin just above the neck. Let's feel this flower open. Any areas of tension, restriction, tightness, just hold the flower petals there in those areas that might not be moving as fluid as others. And allow it to close, noticing the difference from the open to the close. Are any of the flower petals feeling more constricted on the close, wanting to stay open and not close? In those areas, we are going to hold them until they decide to close. Let's take a moment with this open and close of these flower petals within our head to hold these pauses of the open and areas of tension and the close. And don't forget to breathe. Notice if any of the petals' radiance is a bit duller and needs to be brightened up. At any time that you see this, imagine a bright ray of golden light within the center of this flower, gently pulsing, softly, gracefully, and let this light go to those spaces that might feel a little bit more dull in color or that are having a hard time to move. And wash those petals with this light. Until they seem to revive themselves. Let's go ahead and take one more inhale, opening of the flower within our head. Hold it open for one great, big, open pause. Allow it once it's ready to close. If you feel your flower start to wobble, hold the flower at the wobble until it resets itself. Let's go ahead and bring another flower into our throat center. With the base of this flower resting on our clavicles and upper thoracic vertebrae, base of the cervical. And just take a minute to notice, to witness, how is this flower moving? Are all of the flower petals opening in a synchronistic, harmonic fashion? Are they doing a little bit of a wave dance? Are some of them tucked under or twisted? Take a moment, as we did before, to hold these petals in the open and in the close, utilizing the bright, brilliant light in the center for any flower petal that may be stuck, darkened, gray, lacking the vibrancy that it should have. This is feeling good. Go ahead and take another deep breath with the open, holding it at the open. All of those flower petals reaching for maximum open bloom. And then allowing them to come back to a closed. All the way to a maximum closed bloom. And then as it gently reopens again, let's come down into our chest cavity, our heart center. With the base of this flower sitting on top of the diaphragm. Again, with your awareness and your mind's eye, paying attention to any flowers that may be constricted, lacking light, lacking vibrancy, tucked, twisted, constricted, stuck. Any of these we want to pay extra attention to. And they can reveal themselves in layers. And again, take as much time as you need. If you need to go beyond this moment in this area. But for now, let's go ahead and allow it to open to its utmost brilliant bloom. Everything opening and holding it in one large open pause. And then allowing it to return into its closed phase in a harmonic fluid motion all together. Holding it in a pause. And as it opens again, we're going to drop down into our hips, and with our intent in our mind's eye, we're going to bring another lotus flower sitting at the base of our hips, tip of the coccyx and the frontal bones. And as you're beginning to notice this flower open, you might feel a little bit more constriction in this area than other areas. Our psoas tends to be extremely tight. If you have low back pain, there will be a lot of constriction around the vertebrae area. So as we're watching these petals, take note of those areas you might feel any area of constriction, tightness, or even not moving at all. Some of these petals may be frozen. With those, we want to spend extra time shining the light onto those areas. These flower petals extend into your knees and your feet. Even space beyond your back. This flower doesn't exist just in your physical body, but it exists in your whole sphere. And if there's any area that is having a really hard time with this, along with the light, you can also direct pure love and compassion for those areas that might be having a harder time moving in a nice fluid fashion. Taking light with your mind's eye hands and washing it. Any of these petals, you can take a light into those hands and wash each petal down to its core, to its root. Let's go ahead and in this flower, in our hips, bring it to a full open blossom. with the pause at the end, allowing any petal to come back into its rightful place. And when it's ready, allow it to close to its fullest expression of a closed bloom. With the pause at the end. And as it reopens, take your mind's eye back to all of the flowers at the same time. And just witness them opening and closing for just a moment. And take notice, are they opening at the same time? Or are they in different rhythms? So we bring our awareness to this. Let's take our root flower, the one at our hips, holding it open all the way to its maximum expression and holding it there. And then coming into the flower blossom in our chest cavity, holding that open to the max expression and holding it there with the flower in our hips. And then the same thing with the flower into our throat area. Allow it to open all the way to its maximum bloom, holding it open. And then, once again, to the one inside of our head, allow it to hold open to its maximum bloom and hold it with the other 3 flowers. Hold all of these flowers open. So we hold all these flowers open at the same time. Let's bring our awareness to the center column of all of these flowers, connecting them. An aspect of our vertical core as we worked on last week. Letting this vertical core come all the way down to the tip of the coccyx. And as it closes, the light, the maximum brilliance of the light of the vertical core ascends back to the crown. And if you feel any wavering or wobble, stop and hold any of the flower petals with this light of the vertical core. All of these flower petals to blossom open, take your awareness to the top of your head. And imagine another gigantic flower that encases your whole entire body, opening from that point. So it's a little bit upside down, as the base of this flower is at your crown looking down. So as this flower opens outward and down, your other flower petals are facing upward, opening to that flower. And let's take a moment to look at the aspects of this flower, at all of the flower petals. Are any of them dull? Do any of them need more vibrancy or to be cleaned with the light? any of them tucked, frozen, constricted? Take a moment now. Some of the relationships that seem to be flowing perfectly before, when you're working on the individual flowers, as it's in relationship to this crown flower that encompasses your whole body, things could adjust or change because it's a different relationship that we're putting our awareness into. Now let's bring our awareness into our hands. Wiggle your fingers for a minute just for some motion and movement. Then open your hands onto your knees. We're going to, with our mind's eye and our intent, imagine a flower in each hand, opening and closing. Are they moving at the same pace? How are the texture of these flower petals? Take a moment to feel it open, close. These flowers in our hands represent the energy center of our input and output to the world. So as we are opening and closing these flower petals and bringing the light to any areas that may be constricted, less vibrant, or frozen, we are adjusting how our energy flows in and out of our body to the inner and outer world of our experience. Now, with our intent and our mind's eye, we're going to go deep into our chest, into our heart, and place one more flower there. This one you may feel a lot of twists. You may feel frozen petals. You may feel like it's in a cellophane, air compressed package. You might feel like it's in full open bloom already. There are many aspects to our heart center. So if you're feeling your flower in full open bloom, go to the next layer in, a little bit deeper. If you're feeling like it's frozen, or suffocated, or only half of the flower petals are moving, take moments with this light to hold it in the open. Let this light be warm to help any of the frozen petals that might be stuck, sending it with pure radiance, love, nourishment. Giving the heart a safe container to open and to close in this breath of the flower. As this one could take a while to fully unravel and become fluid and synchronize, I'm going to go ahead and move on, but know that you have this tool at any time to continue. And after this meditation is over, you're welcome to continue to work on any flower that we have worked on today, touched on today, a little bit more in depth, if there are any areas that we moved over too quickly. So let's go ahead and bring our awareness to all of the flowers, the 4 in the column, the 2 in the hands, the 1 in the heart, and the 1 at the crown. And let's feel them in a harmonious, fluid fashion, all open at the same time. The full pause in its open. Again, paying attention to the light in the center column of all of these flowers. And then allowing them to close. And gently open and close until you find a neutral space within the motion of all of these flowers opening and closing. A soft, gentle, neutral space. In this space, once you have gotten there, say this mantra to yourself. I am perfect. I am divine. I am whole. I am light. And I am love. And any other affirmations you would like to say to yourself at this moment. If you are suffering from something like cancer, in this space you can say, I am cancer-free. I am healed. The cancer is not allowed in this body. It must go. I command the removal of cancer in all forms. If you have COVID-19, you can say, deactivate the COVID-19 virus on all levels. My respiratory system is healing, clear. My immunity, my immune system is running on maximum level. My immune system is nourished. My immune system is supported. I am perfect. I am whole. I am love. Go ahead and take a couple deep breaths in, bringing your awareness to your hands and your knees, your hips sitting on the ground, the top of your head, the sides of your cheeks, the tip of your nose, along your spine, down your arms. Let's go ahead and bring our hands to our heart center. Thank you for coming to my MaQi Monday meditation. You are all a beautiful, beautiful rose, a beautiful lotus, a beautiful flower, whatever flower you choose to be. May you all have a beautiful Monday. Until next time.